right, y'all. I'm back at it again out here. Love exciting. I know it's windy. You can't tell. It's probably gonna be windy as heck. I'm up to do a voiceover, but I'm walking around just doing a jump out. Cars right here. Just doing a quick jump out, and I spotted this little guy right here. Let's squirt him off a little bit. Give him a squirt off. This is brachiated red jasper. Bad find for the first rock of the day. All right, y'all, I had to do the voiceover because the wind started picking up too much, but this is pretty much an unedited jump out. Basically, I'm just going around showing y'all what I do when I jump out. Car's still back over there. Here you go, just found this guy right here. Appears to be just a red jasper. I was hoping for some moss, but that's how it works sometimes. You pick them up and it's not what you want, so we put them under the tree so we don't pick them up again. So here we go. Again, just you get a good idea for the gravel. There's so many little green plants out right now, and there were so many flowers out. I'll do a video probably with some of the flowers. There's like fields and fields of flowers because it's got so much rain in the desert this year. I mean, everything's just blooming. It just goes to show you how quick the desert can turn, to flowers. There's some white flowers right there. But there's literally fields of them. There's a little purple one. It's amazing what the desert does with just a little water. I mean, that soil's, you think it's all barren, but when it gets water, there's a lot of minerals in there, a lot of nutrients, and the plants grow like crazy. But anyway, so we just walk around. So here's cool. This looks like a piece of petrified wood, doesn't it? Anywhere else you'd be like, wow, I found a big piece of petrified wood. It's not. It's a fake out. I wish it was petrified wood, but it's not. Yeah, it was just a piece of basalt. So here's a little chip I picked up. Let's take a look at it, see if it's moss. I don't think it is. Oh, dropped my water bottle. Yeah, it had butterfingers. I didn't have my holster on to hold the water bottle like I usually do because, again, I just did the jump out. I hadn't even put my belt on or got my backpack or anything. Again, the car's still sitting back over there running. I'm just walking around. And this is what I do for hours and hours. I'm usually, one trip, I'll usually spend about 6 hours out here walking around. That's about all I can pretty much do. There's a little piece of chalcedony we just put up there. Again, just kind of, this is a good sign when you start seeing all these trace minerals, these rocks like this, because you know you're in the right spot. Because if it can produce those types of minerals, you know it can produce the moss, the real nice brachiateds, the real nice jaspers that they're known for are lavic. So if you're in a spot you don't see any of that kind of stuff, you don't see like these little chips or these little chalcedonies, just a nice little brachiated chip, you need to move to another spot because you're not going to find anything else. If you don't find, you should find some type of traces. Even if people have hunted the spot, like these spots have been hunted since the 50s at least. I mean, the railroad went in the early 1900s, so these have all been heavily hunted spots. So, but I still manage to find good stuff, right? I mean, I always do. So here's a nice little piece here. So this is a little piece of, it's like a spiderweb pattern more than a moss, but it's pretty cool. Let's see, once we squirt it off, you'll see. See how it's all like spiderweb pattern, like the yellow and the red all in there? It's a pretty cool piece. So obviously this is a chip someone, who knows how long ago, might have been 30, 40, 50 years ago, somebody chipped that off of a rock. Here's another big piece of chalcedony. It might be agate in the middle there. It's a nodule. You can see some white in the middle, so it might have banding in there, so it might be an agate when you cut it open. Nice little chunk, but I'm not going to take that. A lot of this stuff I don't take. I'm only looking for some of the bigger pieces, but I'd like to show you what you can find when you go out there. You got lots of great little pieces for tumblers. The bigger pieces are harder to find. Here's another piece right here. This is another example of brachiated right here. It's a chip. Obviously, somebody chipped it off of a bigger rock probably at some point. So again, this is what I do, just walk around. So I usually don't show these types. I usually only show you all the rocks I find because for me, that's the more interesting part. But I know a lot of people like to see the process of walking around. But me filming like 6 hours of walking around, that'd be a lot of editing to, you'd have to sit through a lot of boring stuff. But anyway, yep, so I'm just walking around. See, there's tons of rocks everywhere, right? But you're looking for the special kind. Oh, there's some little white flowers. There you go. I did show some flowers. There's a chip right there. Oh, it's a little bit bigger than a chip. Oh, let's see what he is. And believe it or not, the sun was out. Of course, you can see that wind blowing. You see all the little plants close to the ground are like blowing all over the place. Give you an idea how much wind's blowing. That's a pretty piece. It's a nice piece of jasper. It's got good color. It's got some chalcedony on top. You can see that on the right-hand side. But I'm not going to take that one. Again, I have lots of that stuff. I don't need any more of it. I'm only looking for moss is my main thing I like to look for. Yeah, check out these little bugs here, huh? On these beautiful little flowers. Again, there's usually nothing out here except for the little creosote bushes. Pretty much everything else is dead most of the time out here. There's some more purple ones. They just pop up. You can see all the little plants everywhere. Again, usually there's nothing there. Yeah, there's another piece right there. But I didn't have to bend down because I already knew it was nothing I was interested in. This one I wasn't sure about. So we'll pick it up and we'll check it out. Nope. It's a nope. Again, the wildlife was crazy. There's lots of these little tiny weird looking bees. They're little small bees. Were all over the place. And they had a couple of big bees too. I had a problem with when I started using the squirt bottles when it got hotter. They seek the water out, man. They were following me every time I'd squirt the water bottle. It was pretty funny. I think one of the videos I have will come out later. You'll see one where a bee lands on my hand while I'm holding a rock. Yeah. So there's a creosote bush right there. Again, you can see lots of little chips. You can see them on the ground. I usually don't pick most of those up. I usually can tell, I know the area. I know what the rocks look like. I usually can tell most of them without even picking them up if they're going to be moss or not. Some of them fake you out, though. You get some of the fake outs. You pick them up, and it's like, it looks exactly like moss, and it's like, it's not. So this one's got a cool pattern. Check that out. It's almost moss. It's not quite moss, but it's got this really cool pattern in there. And when you saw the top, you can see some of the wavy lines. Again, that's what kind of makes you think it's moss when you see those wavy lines. Anyway, that's a pretty neat piece. Lots of rocks. And again, this is just a jump out I just did. Again, I just do random stops to try new spots. This is how you can discover new spots. So you may discover somebody else's spot from a long time ago where the stuff that they left is the stuff that I like. Because some of them doesn't like moss because the moss doesn't make very good. It's hard to cab it a lot of times because it's not fully silicated or there's a lot of bugs in it. So a lot of people don't like to use it in jewelry or cab it. But I just think it's beautiful. And some of it is fully silicated, which is really beautiful. So here's a cool piece. Look, it's got moss in there. That's a pretty cool piece. Clean up that side. It almost looks like a flame pattern, but I won't know till I clean it up. A lot of that yellow staining, it comes off and it becomes clearer when you polish it. Again, you can see those little flowers everywhere in the desert. Here's another piece I just picked up. It's a nope. There's another little piece of like chalcedony. Could be fire agate. Like it's the same stuff like fire agate's made of, but that wasn't a fire agate. but it forms the same way. There's some little pieces there, checking those little chips. That's another thing too, when it rains out here in the desert, it moves a lot of the sand around, right, that you see there. So a lot of times new rocks will be exposed. And here you go, prime example. This one, the top of this rock was exposed. So you'll be able to find more material, a newer material that's maybe been buried under the sand that a lot of people have missed, So, but this one's pretty cool. Let's pick this one up and look at it. There you go. There's some crazy patterns. It's kind of moss. It's moss, definitely. That gold part on the other side this is like one of these mixed up ones. Have to cut this one open. It's got some bugs in it though. That's a pretty piece though. And again, so this is just one job. I usually do like 4 or 5 of them. I try to try new spots every time I go out because, it's kind of like fishing. You'll try one spot, there's nothing. You go 10 feet over, you find all kind of stuff. It's kind of comical sometimes because, I try to think about like how lava flowed and things like that. That's a pretty piece there. I try to think about how the lava flowed and how all the minerals flowed from the volcano that caused all of this, and say, okay, this should have like veins, right? And it should flow in veins. Man, I can't make rhyme or reason. I try to use logic every time I'm out here to see, some spots have it, some spots don't. That's all I can tell you. So, like I said, if you ever go out there and you don't find anything, move 10 feet over. I mean, literally, that's happened to me a bunch of times. Like they have like these little plateaus, right? And then they have like the little washes in between. Sometimes you go from one hill to the next little hill, and I'm not talking huge hills. They're like little hills, and you'll find all kind of stuff on top of one, and none on the one right next to it. Here's a nice little piece. I think this is moss. I'm not sure. I don't remember. We'll check it out together. As soon as Butterfingers can't hold the spray bottle. All right. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we got some moss in there. There you go. You can see the lines right there. The back looks like jasper, but that's definitely moss in that corner right there where the white is. That's a cool little piece. And again, this is how all my videos are made. I spent hours walking around. That's a fake out. That's rhyolite. That stuff fakes you out sometimes. I swear it looks so good. Sometimes it's laid out perfectly. Or you just see a little piece of it. You pick it up and it's rhyolite. You're like, dang, rhyolite. But it happens. Even to me, who's been out here hunting for many years. Here's a little wash we're going to walk across. And like I said, watch, there'll be another little hill on the other side once we get to the other side. I like to check the washes too after it rains because a lot of times rocks that have been in the washes will be exposed. Here's a piece of petroidal chalcedony right there. You can see all the little bots. Oh, and it's got quartz crystals on the bottom. Those are little small quartz crystals that were on the bottom there. Tiny ones. There's one in the wash. Said I like to check all the washes after it rains because you get a lot of stuff. Like I said, the sand will get washed off to a lot of rocks, and the bigger ones don't really move as much. But those small ones we spread out. Look, this is really cool. Now this is more of a banded iron right here, kind of like what we found in Arizona, like around Cave Creek, up in there. You'll find banded iron. It looks just like that. All right, let's see what else we got. More rocks. See, you're not seeing a whole lot of chips right here. There's a big piece of jasper, just a mustardy color, which I'm not really interested in. But you can see, like, there's a piece of chalcedony right there. I can see it from here. There you go. See, and that's how like fire agates are formed anywhere else, right? And it gets darker and it gets a little iron in there. Again, it needs the right conditions for fire agates, which is why they're not real common, because it takes the right conditions. Most of what I read about fire agates is they were actually formed out of volcanoes that were underwater at one point. Like in right outside Tonopah, right outside of Phoenix, that those volcanoes out there were underwater at some point. Those were all underwater. At least that's what I've read. So I don't claim to be an expert, but it does take the right kind of conditions to make a fire agate, which is why they're hard to find, because it's not common for all the minerals and everything to be together at the same time to form. There you go. There's a little banded piece. I'll leave it right there on that rock for somebody else who walks by. Make it a little bit easier for them to find. There's one. Look at this. That's pretty cool. I like those ones. They look like ears and stuff like that. I think sometimes they call them like chalcedony roses or whatever, but they're pretty cool. I like them. So this is how I like to spend my time, walking around the desert. This is a fun hobby for me, an activity. I love doing this. I don't do this to make money. I don't do this, trying to make a business out of it. This is my fun. I don't mind if people try to do that, but for me, this is just pure fun. It's peaceful. It's quiet. No noise of the city. It's nice. So that last rock I was holding, that's the stuff I find the moonstones in. So here's another big piece. I always check those, because sometimes you can find okay sized crystals. Nothing really huge though, but you can find some nice little moonstones, which is just a type of feldspar crystal. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. So thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. And I hope y'all enjoyed this unedited version. Take care, everybody. Keep on rocking.